Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to unpack essential knowledge, maybe give you some surprising facts, and really help you get well-informed fast. Today, we're diving deep into something absolutely fundamental if you're heading into business. Competitive advantage. Now, this deep dive is especially for you if you're a student, maybe at the Dr. Sampak College of Business, or any college student really, or even a future business pro looking to get a solid handle on management information systems, MIS. In today's global market, things move so fast. Businesses aren't just competing, they're fighting to survive. And maintaining that edge, that competitive advantage, it's not just nice to have. It's basically essential for long-term success. And MIS, it's not just one tool for this. Honestly, it's like your whole strategic toolkit. So hey, if you find this useful, please hit like, subscribe, follow, maybe share it with someone else who could use it, and definitely jump into the comments. Let us know what you think.
That's exactly right. Our goal here is to equip you with the frameworks, the insights you'll need to understand how companies get that edge, but maybe more importantly, how they keep it. We're going to be looking at both the theory behind it and, crucially, the really powerful ways management information systems are applied in practice. A lot of our insights today are drawn from a great textbook, Connect Master. Management Information Systems. It's by Richard Tedmon and Tedmon Wilhelm, McGraw Hill, 2024 edition. Really solid stuff. And just to get you thinking right from the start, what actually makes you choose one company over another? Is it always about the price? Or is there something else going on? And think about this. Are the reasons the same if you're buying, say, clothes versus a new phone, or maybe choosing a service company? Keep that in the back of your mind as we dig in.
That's a perfect way to kick things off. So let's unpack this whole idea of competitive advantage. What is it really? At its core, it's that special thing, that unique capability that lets a company offer products or services that customers perceive as having higher value than the competition. It's why you pick one brand over another, right? And maybe even pay a bit more for it. And to really understand the battlefield where this advantage is won or lost, we kind of have to start with a foundational map, you could say. Michael E. Porter's 5 Forces model, he published this back in '79, in How Competitive Forces Shape Strategy. It's like the classic framework for understanding your market's dynamics. And critically, for seeing how MIS dictates how these forces are actually used, how they play out in organizations today.
Absolutely. Porter's 5 forces are fantastic for dissecting an industry structure, pinpointing where the real competitive pressures lie. And MIS? Well, MIS is the engine that helps companies navigate every single one of these forces. So first up, existing competition. When you have a ton of businesses offering very similar things, profit margins just naturally get tighter. But what's really interesting is how companies still manage to stand out in what economists call monopolistic competition. Think about it like a coffee is a coffee, basically. Yet some brands charge way more. Why? Because they've skillfully used their brand image to create this perception of greater value. And this is where MIS is just invaluable. It's not just about tracking your own sales figures. It's about scraping social media to see what people are saying about competitors, analyzing pricing on rival websites, even keeping tabs on global commodity prices. MIS pulls all that data together. It gives companies this almost real-time dashboard of market saturation, and crucially, where they might still carve out a unique niche through branding.
Okay, so MIS is like your strategic radar, helping you find that high ground on the competitive battlefield. That makes sense. Which brings us to another big one, new entries into the market. The easier it is for new players, for startups to just jump in, the more the established companies have to be on their toes, right? Nobody wants to get blindsided.
Exactly. And this is where MIS really shows its predictive muscle, you could say. Data analytics isn't just rear-view mirror stuff. It can actually help forecast where new competitors might pop up. By analyzing emerging trends, maybe shifts in technology, or even customer complaints indicating an unmet need, MIS provides those early warnings. And companies can use that insight not just to tweak their own strategy, but to proactively counter these threats. Sometimes, honestly, that might even mean buying out a promising rival startup before it gets too big.
Yeah.
And that decision, often powered by MIS-driven intelligence about their potential market impact.
Wow, yeah, buying them out, that's definitely proactive. Okay, then there's supplier power. This is where the really big companies, because they buy so much stuff, can lean on their suppliers for better prices. That's the whole economies of scale thing, right?
Right. If you're buying millions of units, you have leverage. If a supplier tries to jack up the price, a big player might just say, you know what, we'll find someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And MIS is absolutely key to managing that leverage effectively. It helps companies map out their entire supply chain, track every cost component, manage those supplier relationships with incredible detail. This lets them see exactly where they have negotiation power. Or, if a supplier suddenly becomes unreliable or too pricey, MIS helps them quickly identify and even onboard alternative suppliers. It's all about having that clear visibility and control over your input costs.
Makes sense. And flipping that coin, we have buyer power. This is about how much clout we have, the customers, and setting prices. And you mentioned this fascinating idea of elasticity of demand.
Yes, elasticity of demand. It basically describes how sensitive customer demand is to a change in price. So think about something like bread versus, say, a luxury sports car. If the price of bread goes up a bit, most people still need bread, right? They'll probably still buy it. That demand is inelastic. But if that dream car's price jumps by 10%, oof, you might wait or look at a different brand altogether. That's elastic demand. MIS, through really sophisticated analysis of sales data and market trends, helps businesses predict just how much their customers will react to price tweaks. Understanding this elasticity gives them significant pricing power that lets them optimize profits, especially for larger companies that, frankly, can afford to maybe lose a little revenue temporarily if it means grabbing more market share in the long run.
Got it. Price it just right based on how much people will react. Okay, and the last of Porter's 5 forces, product substitution. This isn't just about direct competitors, but anything else that could meet the same customer need, right? Like water instead of soda.
Exactly, the threat of viable alternatives. The market's just flooded with choices for almost everything. And big companies use MIS and data analytics almost like a constant market sonar. They're always scanning, monitoring trends, shifts in consumer preferences, trying to spot where these substitute products are gaining traction. The textbook uses a great example. Pepsi and Coke saw bottled water taking off, threatening their core soda business. So what do? They use those MIS insights to quickly develop and launch their own bottled water lines, Aquafina and Dasani. It's about using that intelligence to either diversify or innovate within your own portfolio, turning a potential threat into, well, another revenue stream.
Okay, so understanding these forces and using MIS to navigate them is clearly key to getting an advantage. But how does MIS help companies look inward and also scan that broader environment, beyond just direct competitors?
That's a really important point because competitive advantage isn't just about outmaneuvering rivals. It's also about deeply understanding your own capabilities and the wider world you operate in. And a fundamental tool for this, a classic, is the SWOT analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It's a strategic planning framework. Helps businesses take stock internally. What are we good at? Where are we vulnerable? And externally, what chances are out there? What potential dangers? For those internal factors, the textbook mentions the 5 Ps as a useful way to think about them. Personnel, plant, processes, purse, and past experiences.
The 5 Ps, okay, let me see if I get this. Personnel is your people, your talent. Plant is your physical stuff. Factories, equipment, processes are how you actually do things. Purse is your financial health, your resources, and past experiences, like your brand reputation, what you've learned.
You nailed it. Those are the internal levers a company can potentially control or influence. And the MIS connection here is, well, it's huge. MIS is what gathers and analyzes the data related to all 5 of those Ps. This allows for much more data-driven strategic thinking. For instance, if MIS analysis shows a major market opportunity aligned perfectly with one of your core strengths, that data can back up an aggressive growth strategy. But conversely, if MIS flags a significant external threat that lines up with a known internal weakness, that data supports more cautious, perhaps defensive strategy. It's about moving beyond gut feelings to make informed choices based on evidence.
Okay, SWOT helps you align internal realities with external possibilities. What other big analytical tools get a boost from MIS?
Another crucial one, especially for understanding the broader context, is pestle analysis. This framework helps you systematically scan the macro environment across 6 key dimensions: political, economic, socio-cultural, technological, environmental, and legal. Think about it. Political factors like tax policy changes, economic factors like a recession, socio-cultural shifts in consumer attitudes, technological breakthroughs, that's a huge one, environmental concerns about sustainability, and legal requirements, new regulations. MIS, through things like big data analytics and CRM systems, is absolutely vital for managers to monitor all these external factors. It helps spot technological shifts, like AI gaining traction, so you can adapt. It tracks sociocultural trends from social media sentiment. It ensures you're compliant with new environmental or legal regs. It's basically the company's early warning system and intelligence network for the entire external world, helping you adapt, comply, and hopefully seize opportunities faster than others.
Right. It's not just about your immediate competitors, but the whole landscape. That really shows how MIS broadens your strategic view. Okay, so we've analyzed the battlefield, we've scanned the environment. Now let's talk action. What are some specific strategies companies use to actually go out there and win, to gain and keep that competitive edge?
Well, Building on his forces model, Quarter himself outlined two fundamental approaches, what he called generic business strategies. They're kind of the foundational choices. First, there's price leadership. The goal here is pretty straightforward. Offer your product to a really broad market at the absolute lowest possible price. How do they do it? By ruthlessly maximizing efficiencies, streamlining operations, and really leveraging those economies of scale we talked about. Think about your big discount retailers. They win on volume and cost control. The second strategy is product differentiation. Here, the focus shifts. It's about offering a product that has unique qualities, something special that makes it stand out. That perceived uniqueness allows the company to charge a premium price because customers aren't just buying on cost, they're buying that special feature or brand image or quality.
So basically, be the cheapest or be special enough that people will pay more. Simple enough in concept, I guess. But I've also heard about red ocean versus blue ocean strategies. How do they relate to this? Are they different?
That's a great follow-up. Professors W. Chang Kim and Renee Mauborn really expanded on these ideas in their 2004 book, Blue Ocean Strategy. It's a very influential concept. They describe red oceans as basically all the industries that exist today, the known market space. These markets are often crowded, the competition is fierce, and companies are basically fighting over existing demand, usually by trying to beat rivals on price or maybe adding minor incremental improvements. It's like a Shark Tank, hence the red bloody competition.
Okay, intense competition, fighting for scraps. So a blue ocean must be smoother sailing, less crowded.
Yeah. Exactly. A blue ocean strategy argues that instead of fighting in the red ocean, companies should seek to create new, uncontested market space. Make the competition irrelevant. They do this by focusing on both differentiation and low cost simultaneously, a concept they call value innovation. It's about creating a leap in value for buyers, which opens up new demand. The classic example everyone uses, and it's in the textbook too, is Cirque du Soleil. They didn't try to just be a better, cheaper traditional circus. They fundamentally reinvented the concept. They got rid of the animal acts, focused on incredible artistry, music, human performance, targeting an adult audience willing to pay theater-like prices. They didn't just compete. They created a whole new category. They found a blue ocean.
That Cirque du Soleil example really clicks, reimagining the whole thing. Very cool. And speaking of reimagining things and transforming industries, what about Christensen's disruptive innovation model? That sounds important too.
Well, absolutely. Professor Clayton Christensen's work, especially his 1997 book, The Innovator's Dilemma, is crucial reading for anyone in business. His core insight was that major market disruptions often don't come from brand new breakthrough technologies. Instead, they frequently come from using existing technologies in new, creative, often simpler or cheaper ways, initially targeting overlooked market segments. A disruptive innovation uses technology, often existing tech, to completely transform an existing market or maybe even create a totally new one. This creates a real dilemma for established companies, right? Do you keep investing resources in making your current products better for your existing high-end customers? Or do you divert resources to bet on a potentially disruptive, maybe lower margin innovation that might cannibalize your current business but could be the future? MIS is critical here. It helps identify those creative applications of existing tech, spot those underserved niches where disruption might start, and provides the data to help managers make those really tough calls on resource allocation. Think about the iPhone. Apple didn't invent the MP3 player, they had the iPod. They didn't invent the mobile phone. But integrating that existing MP3 capability seamlessly into a smartphone, that combination, enabled by sophisticated software and hardware integration managed via MIS principles, was massively disruptive.
Right, it wasn't inventing fire, but combining existing things in a revolutionary way. Makes sense. What about just being the first? Is there an advantage to just getting your product out there before anyone else?
There certainly can be. That takes us to Lieberman and Montgomery's first mover advantage. Back in the 80s, Professors Marvin Lieberman and David Montgomery looked into this. They found that being the very first company to launch a particular type of product can confer some pretty powerful, lasting advantages. They identified three main ones. First, your own employees get to learn the new technologies and processes first. They build expertise faster than any potential followers. That's a knowledge advantage. Second, you get the first crack at securing the best sources of raw materials or locking up key distribution channels and logistics partners. Basically, you can build crucial supply chain relationships. And third, and this is subtle but powerful, consumers often get used to the first product they encounter. It kind of sets the standard, the specifications in their minds that all competitors then have to meet or beat. They argue this advantage is particularly strong for products that need some kind of installation or maybe modification, or where switching involves notifying others, think changing your bank or your mobile provider, or even just your email address. There's inertia.
Okay, so getting there first can definitely help you dig in and build defenses. But I feel like I've also heard the opposite, that pioneers often end up with arrows in their back, so to speak. Is being first always the winning play?
You're right to question it. It's not always the best move. And that leads perfectly into the fast follower strategy. Follow-up research, notably by Professors Golder and Tellis, painted a more nuanced picture. They actually found that something like over half of all truly innovative products fail in the marketplace. But get this, over 80% of the successors, the companies that followed the pioneer, ended up succeeding. So the fast follower strategy is built on this observation. These companies essentially let the innovator take the initial risks, spend the big R&D money, test the market, maybe make some mistakes. The fast follower then learns from all that, develops a competing product, often improving on the original or making it cheaper, and launches it quickly. The key word there is fast. They have to be quick enough to still offer a viable alternative to the early adopters who are just starting to consider the innovator's product. It's a trade-off, right? You avoid the huge risks and costs of pure innovation, but you absolutely need speed and agility, which, again, often relied heavily on efficient MIS for rapid development and market entry.
Fascinating. So being first has perks, but being a smart, fast second can often be even better. Okay. We've covered a lot on strategy and market analysis, but competitive advantage isn't just about big ideas. It's also about execution, right? Making things efficiently, high quality. How do MIS tools help businesses nail that operational side of things?
Absolutely. Execution is critical. This is where we get into the nuts and bolts of manufacturing and operations management. First, let's talk lean manufacturing. This is more than just a technique. It's really a whole philosophy, a deep commitment to excellence. It's all about relentlessly eliminating waste and maximizing value in every single step of a process. It builds on Dr. James Womack's 5 core tenets: precisely defining value from the customer's view, mapping out the entire value stream, making that value flow without interruption, letting customers pull value from the producer, so nothing's made until it's needed, and constantly striving for perfection. Now, MIS is like the central nervous system for lean. It enables the rapid communication and information sharing needed across the entire organization, from the shop floor right up to the executive suite. It empowers everyone to spot waste and suggest improvements. And things like human resources management systems, which are a type of MIS, are crucial for the extensive employee education and training needed to make lean truly work.
Okay, lean is about eliminating waste, continuous improvement. What about Six Sigma production quality? That sounds very precise.
It is extremely precise. Six Sigma is a set of techniques and tools focused specifically on process improvement and reducing defects or errors to an incredibly low level. The goal is statistically defined: fewer than 3.4 defects per million opportunities, or DPMO. It also aims to minimize variation in the total number of steps in any process. For existing processes that need improvement, Six Sigma practitioners often use a methodology called DMAIC. That stands for Define, Measure, Analyze, Improve, and Control. It's a very structured, data-driven problem-solving cycle. And for designing new products or processes, there's a similar one called DMADV. Define, Measure, Analyze, Design, and Verify.
Define, measure, analyze, improve, design, control, verify. Got it. And I'm guessing MIS is pretty essential for all that measuring and analyzing.
Oh, absolutely essential. You can't achieve Six Sigma without robust data collection and analysis. And that's where MIS tools come in. During the measure and analyze phases, analysts rely heavily on statistical tools, often integrated into MIS platforms. Things like scatter diagrams, histograms, Pareto charts, regression analysis. These tools help visualize the data, pinpoint sources of variation, and identify the root causes of problems or defects. Then, based on that analysis, MIS tools can help managers model and simulate improvements or design entirely new processes, allowing for data-backed decisions and continuous refinement.
Makes sense. Data drives the quality. And speaking of managing things effectively, inventory management systems must be huge for competitive advantage too, right? Keeping track of all this stuff.
Huge is an understatement. They are absolutely critical. Think of modern inventory systems, all powered by MIS, as the logistical brain of the operation. The advantages are numerous. They aim to minimize how many times a product is touched or moved, which reduces costs and potential damage. They help ensure products are actually on the shelf when customers want them. They optimize how that shelf space is used. They automate timely reordering so you don't run out of stock, but also help minimize having too much stock, especially stuff that could expire or become obsolete. And crucially, they provide accurate, real-time tracking of everything, everywhere. Achieving all of this relies heavily on sophisticated MIS databases, scanners, analytics, network communication. It directly impacts costs, efficiency, and customer satisfaction.
Yeah, you don't want too little, don't want too much. Sounds like a balancing act. Which seems to lead right into JIT manufacturing and inventory just in time. What's the deal with that? Is it the ultimate goal?
JIT is a very specific approach that takes lean principles, especially regarding inventory, to an extreme. The core idea is to minimize or almost eliminate excess inventory. Keep manufacturing lines incredibly agile. You save money on storage, handling, and potential obsolescence. You can adapt more quickly to changes in customer demand. The ideal is that parts and labor arrive just in time to be used in the assembly process, and finished goods are shipped out immediately. When JIT works well, the savings can be substantial, providing a really strong competitive edge through lower cost and high responsiveness. But, and it's a big but, it's inherently risky. It relies on perfectly smooth, predictable supply chains. Any disruption, a natural disaster, a strike, a pandemic, a ship getting stuck somewhere, can bring the entire production line to a halt because there's simply no buffer stock. MIS helps manage the complexity and provides visibility, but it can't magically fix a broken supply link.
Okay, so it's potentially high reward, but definitely high risk if anything goes wrong. What kinds of businesses or products is JIT actually suitable for, and where is it just like a terrible idea?
Well, JIT tends to work best for products that aren't perishable and don't become obsolete very quickly. The textbook uses an example like maybe hand-knitted hats. Assuming you have steady access to yarn and bitters, you could potentially make them just as orders come in. Minimal inventory risk. Conversely, it's generally a poor risk for things that spoil, like fresh cakes. You can't just bake them the instant someone walks in. Or for rapidly obsolescent products like cutting-edge computers, holding inventory is risky, but having no inventory means lost sales. It's also tricky for services with highly variable immediate demand, where you can't just instantly summon skilled labor. Ultimately, it's about deeply understanding your specific product, your market demand patterns, and the resilience, or lack thereof, of your supply chain, and using MIS constantly monitor those factors and associated risks.
Wow, okay. That really highlights the trade-offs involved. This has been incredibly insightful, really unpacking competitive advantage and the absolutely central role of MIS. Thank you so much for walking us through all these crucial concepts for our future careers.
It's been my pleasure, and it really makes you think, doesn't it? Considering everything we've discussed today, Porter's forces, SWOT, blue oceans, disruptive innovation, even the operational stuff like lean or JIT, here's a final question for you to ponder. Looking ahead, say the next 5 or 10 years, as you're starting or moving up in your business career, how do you personally see MIS continuing to evolve? How will it keep shaping competitive advantage? What's the next big game changer MIS will enable?
That is a fantastic question to chew on. Definitely something to think about. And as you're reflecting on that, please remember to hit like, subscribe, follow us, and maybe share this deep dive with friends or colleagues who might find it valuable. And absolutely drop your thoughts on that question or any other questions you have in the comments below. We genuinely love hearing from you and seeing how these ideas connect with your own experiences. Because the business world, well, it never stands still, does it? Understanding these strategic tools, all supercharged by MIS, isn't just academic knowledge. It's truly your essential toolkit for managing the future. Thanks for tuning in.